And there's the mic. Hello, whoever's out there. Hey, Kristen. Let me find my notes. Sorry. Okay, welcome to dropping in a Pipeline Audio number 97. And this is Goodbye and Good Riddance 2020. This has been a sucky year, and we actually had a lot of really good silver linings happen through it, but we can't really be done with this year quick enough for me. So let's see what we got today. First of all, I tried out Simon Larkin's tutorial from last week where he ran Reaper on portable installs, many different portable installs, so that he could have different hardware profiles running at the same time. But the most amazing thing to me on that was that you could run multiple instances of Reaper at the same time. And in order to do that, there is an option you have to set to tell Reaper not to check for multiple instances running. But after you do that, I was able to, I was recording a tutorial video, and I wanted, no matter, if I looped or restarted or whatever I did, I wanted all that audio to go in real time to be recorded alongside a narration mic. And so I used reroute on my main instance of Reaper and sent it to an instance of Reaper that was only using reroute for both the ins and outs and recorded it. And that all worked fine. Well, the first time I recorded it, I forgot to solo safe my vocal mic. So every time I hit solo, the vocal mic would cut out. So I actually had to re-record it again. But just remember that you can right-click the solo button in Reaper and mark it as ignore solo or solo safe, something like that. That way, you'll still keep playing when you hit solo. I see the mastering guys do that a lot because they're going to have like a reference track running and they don't want it soloed or whatever. Or you crazy guys that actually just dump dither noise files into Reaper and you leave those running no matter what because you're so sure that it makes a huge difference. Maybe it does. Who knows? But I think you guys are crazy. Anyway. Next thing. This was really, 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 really cool. Jason Dodora. I'm really not sure how you would say that name. He made a video that was a response. It was a request for our multiband gate to have a transient shaper in the detector. And this is a really good idea. He made a video. It's on YouTube. It's called MBG, please add a transient. MBG, please add a transient shaper to key listen. He made a video showing putting like SPL transient designer, I think, in the detector for our multiband gate, and it really made a huge difference in the discrimination between the hits you wanted and the hits you didn't. You'll hear me talk a lot on not just multiband gate, but compressors in general, or dynamics in general. You may not want the most obvious fundamental of a drum, let's say, triggering your detector, because for one thing, they can last a long time, and they may not really appear to have that much of a transient or that much energy. They won't tell you so well about when to close, because if they do last a long time, and they're not going to be as spiky as something that may be close by in frequency but a lot shorter. But with this transient designer inside there, it could really aid in determining what's a wanted hit and what's not. So hopefully we're going to be adding that. And, it's just a really cool feeling that people are actually making videos of requests for your product. And I remember I had done this long before there was a YouTube for some help in Vegas, and then at the very beginning of Reaper, we were making all those Reaper videos, and then people started making videos about Reaper. And so this is an awesome feeling that it looks like we're getting some traction in this world again. every once in a while I worry that I got forgotten about, and this is pretty cool. So go check out his channel. He only has 176 subscribers. It's probably more than I have, but he deserves it. He needs more. Okay, so next thing is, if you guys are having trouble dropping MP4s into Reaper, or maybe having trouble, I think this is for the rendering as well, you might have trouble finding the FFmpeg decoder encoder that we wanted to use. There's a video from Tormy Van Cool, and he's linked where to get these files now, because they're not in the place. I think it was Zero Canoe back in the day had them. They're not there anymore. You can get them from the Internet Wayback Machine, but it might be a little bit confusing as to which one you actually want to use. So if you go to his video, it's called Make Videos with Reaper, and in parentheses VLC and FFmpeg tutorial how to English. That has not just where you can get the files, but how to install them, which ones to use and stuff. And you should be back up and running in case you got like a new computer and you don't have your old MP4 decoders and stuff. That thing has them. That video shows you what to do and where to get it. And so thanks to Tormy Van Cool. So again, I don't know how many subscribers this guy has, but he doesn't have enough. And go subscribe to him. Okay, and you know what? I tried to get him on the show as usual. I'm always trying to get Vin Carigliano on here from Dawbench, but he put up a chart over at GS that's updating for 2021 the Dawbench low latency performance database. And surprise, 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 RME is still way out on top. It's let's see. It's the RME HDSP. I think it says like a PCIe card. The AIO Pro, the AES, and ADI 8QS. I think those are maybe the rack mount ones. The Lynx is right below there still. RME Fireface UFX plus Thunderbolt still right there. And the USB 3 version of RME Fireface. Now the weird one for me is that Antelope's in there with their discrete 8, and it's looking pretty good. It's like number 5, and obviously we've had some problems with Antelope's claims, especially their clocking claims. And for the price of them, I always just assume this is going to be some probably just overpriced nonsense crap like we see from a lot of people who make magical claims about hardware or software or digital audio in general. But looks like they're doing pretty good. This is a Thunderbolt unit. Again, I have trouble recommending Thunderbolt to anybody for anything, but if that's really what you want, go for it. What's kind of crazy is that the Motu 424 card is still on there. So this is the card. It's a PCI card or a PCIe or a PCIX. I have some over here at the school, and I'm running 2408s on them, Motu 2408s. Those Motu 2408s are from 1998. I kid you not. And this is still among the top performers on here. It's absolutely amazing. What kind of digital gear lasts that long? Aside, of course, from RME. But they're still going. I'm a little worried because the last drivers they made for these things was 2015. I think there's still brand new RME drivers for the HDSP 9652s from the 90s, late 90s. But I don't know about the... who knows what's going to happen with those 424s, Vin had something to say, and I think this is pretty interesting. They were talking about drivers, and why is it that other audio interfaces don't just hire some guys and have some RME level performance in their stuff. He said, Motu used to develop their own PCIe drivers. No idea what is going on with the current USB and Thunderbolt. If it's in-house, they need a swift kick. And this is for real. I've had Motu, like I said, we got the 2408s right here. I've had Justin's old 896 from way back in the day. I think it was called the 896 HD. That was great. That was over Firewire. We had the 8 Pre's, I think they were called, over Firewire. They were fast, really fast, almost PCI fast. I have an 896 Mark III. And that should be the flagship crown jewel of all this Motu stuff. And I mean, it is an awesome unit, but its USB performance is crap. I mean, it's really bad. It's I actually have more stable performance from Focusrite Scarlett Solo than I do from this 896. That's sad. So Motu, get your USB game together. I know we're probably moving to, like we were talking about last week, to the network stuff, but I'm not seeing it yet. I mean, I'm seeing some, but I'm not seeing us all moving over to network audio yet. So let's get those USB drivers working. Right now I'm talking over a USB 3, just USB, RME Digiface USB. And, RME can do it, Motu, so hopefully you guys can too. So let's get those back up. Okay, next. Vadim Taranov has a pretty cool video. It's a comparison of different Fortin amp sims. I know you guys go crazy over these things. I don't really know who that is and whatever, but I know it's an amp that people like, and so everybody's making models of it and stuff. So he's got a video up. It says Fortin Amp Sims Comparison, Vadim Taranov. You might know him because he makes a lot of free and paid amp sims, and he actually compares his and a bunch of others on this video. Apples to apples, nuts and bolts, you're actually getting a real comparison. And it comes with free impulses, which is cool, and some DI, so you can ABX for yourself. So many people just spout off as if they're stating facts when they're talking about these kind of things. They just, you have to do this. This one's way better than that one. This thing is magical, this and that. And they're just full of crap, This is really cool to have an ABX test here. I mean, not necessarily an ABX test, but a real apples to apples comparison here. So they all actually sound pretty good. And I think there's some free ones in there. So there's no reason you can't just get going, It's there's some good stuff, good amp sims. It's really great when people actually test this stuff and present it in an evidence-based fashion. And so next thing is somebody's asking about, $500 or less laptop for recording. This isn't like what it was back in the day where, even the most expensive laptop, you had to just beat the crap out of it and completely optimize it in order to get to run it all for recording anything. We've got laptops today so insanely powerful. I just got a new laptop that, wasn't anywhere near top of line anything, and it was so fast that I couldn't run some of the mixes I did on it here on our main recording computer. So I just had to... we were just talking about that, right? I just had to upgrade this main recording computer because of it. I swear, I know I'm going to get some crap for this, but really, I'd like to meet the modern i5 or i7 laptop that couldn't reliably run at least an 8 input interface at low latencies. I'd be surprised. And so for $500, there's plenty of stuff that you can get out there. I think anything from probably a 3 Series i7 on up, maybe even older than that, but definitely once you're getting into that territory. So 3000s, you're seeing a lot of 6770s, I think. 6 Series and 7 Series i7s out there used right now. And a lot of those are below the $500 mark. You can definitely do it. But of course, there's tons and tons and tons of bad advice for this. And somebody said, for the price point, you can't beat an old i5, i7 with the Firewire-driven sound interface. Do not use a USB interface unless you're spending at least $1,000, but then you're locked into their proprietary plugins. By using FireWire, you bypass the CPU for heavy lifting of the in-out processing that the interface needs to do. It allows the CPU to only have to worry about live plugins. My system is 11 years old now with 2.9 milliseconds latency from MIDI-driven VSTIs. That is very low. Okay, let's break this apart. For the price point, you can't beat an old i5, i7. Probably I think that's true. With the FireWire-driven sound interface. Now look, how many billions of internet threads were there on how in the world to get FireWire to work? Like I just said a little while ago, we had FireWire going for a while. In laptops, it was a massive crapshoot. I mean, it was nightmare back in the Core 2 Quad days. There were some old aluminum MacBook Pros that of a certain year and a certain make that seemed to do okay, but not really. Get off the FireWire. Like, I recommend very highly to get off the FireWire. It's not like people are making drivers, as far as I know, for that stuff anymore. That is a dead technology. If you can get away from it, please do yourself a favor and get away from it. That said, I got a bunch of FireWire stuff around here, but I'll give it away. You want it? Let me know. Yeah, get rid of that FireWire stuff. Next. Do not use a USB interface unless you're spending at least $1,000. My HDSP 9652, no, what is it called? My Digiface USB was $500. I challenge you to find a better audio interface drivers for USB than that thing. I think there's even cheaper RME models. There may be ones with mic pre's. I think the baby faces. Maybe they're more. I don't know. But good luck. I think when you're talking about spending $1,000, you're probably talking about those, man, I don't know how to say this. You're probably talking about that UAD stuff. I wouldn't go so far as to recommend UAD interfaces to anybody ever. So I don't know what you're talking about, but when you say it, but then you're locked into their proprietary plugins, really makes me think you're talking about UAD or Antelope or something. Like we just saw, the Antelope Thunderbolt looked like it was doing okay. I wouldn't buy that thing. I definitely wouldn't recommend UAD to anybody. By using FireWire, you bypass the CPU for heavy lifting of the in-out processing that the interface needs to do. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it matters. I don't think the CPU is going to be your bottleneck anymore if you're using sensible zero latency plugins while you're tracking, at least. And you know, my philosophy is to track pretty much how I'm going to mix. So, you know, I'm kind of pushing it there, but I don't know. I don't have any trouble with my USB stuff. So, and that was with the old computer. I haven't really put this one to anything like a hard test. And oh man, some spammers on my Discord. Hey, spammer. No, that's my Twitch. All right. Anyway, so I think that's probably really bad advice. If you want, you know, if you're asking, you probably only need a 2-channel interface. Like, I'm not, you know, that's probably true, right? You're gonna be fine. If you really want, I'll go and try and run my crappy Behringer drivers. Those are the Cycon.de drivers, but they're kind of bad ones even for that. I'll try and run that with my new laptop, and let's see what kind of numbers we get. So I'll give you an idea, and then I'll see if I can't find an older laptop. I do have a 6 series, and I'll plug that into there. And let's see about this USB problem this guy's claiming. Then there's another piece of advice. You really need to get an audio interface to use any DAW effectively in Windows. I think that is spot on, right on the money. Core audio in OS X is more forgiving. I don't think so. And, you know, even if it was, who cares? You need an audio interface. You want to be serious, go get an audio interface. Of course, you know, my extreme ghetto technology and my DIY anything, but if I were you, you want to get stuff done, get an audio interface so you don't have to think about it. Even that Focusrite Solo, that's a great one. If you need more channels, get something bigger. And I want to say to be careful with the PreSonus interfaces, because more and more I keep see people saying that they have to use ASIO for all with them, as the drivers are no longer updated on some models. I know that's true with a couple PreSonuses I've had. So be careful with those PreSonus interfaces. I know Jim Roseberry was talking about the Quantum, and it looks like in the low latency performance thing that the Quantum was doing pretty good. Let me see, PreSonus Quantum. I don't know if that's USB or Thunderbolt or what, but it looks like it's doing really good. And, who knows? Maybe it's worth it, because that thing wasn't that much money, and, lasts a long time. We'll see. But, I watch out for updates. Like, I'm still with that RME stuff where their 20-year-old interfaces still got drivers. So, okay. And where is it? The Behringer DAW. So we were talking about Behringer saying they were going to make a DAW. And, some of these Behringer mixers and stuff, they have really good effects. I love their effects that are on these things. There's some really good ones. You see Vern Grainer using that auto mix function and the stereo combinator or whatever for his live broadcasts. I'd love to see those plugins as VSTs, and it looked like Behringer was gonna do something like that. And I've been saying since 2000, if Behringer ever puts out a DAW, man, it's kind of game over across the market. That's kind of crazy. But lately, even a lot of the Behringer apologists, and I'll include me, because remember all the times I've showed you I could use Behringer stuff just fine. They do have a lot of ethical concerns, but lately they've done some stuff that's really upset a lot of their dealers and a lot of their users. And you're starting to see a lot of people not back them as hard lately. It's kind of a interesting thing to see. Like we always say, this stuff isn't static. Everything is always in flux, and it's interesting to see how attitudes are shifting recently. So what's going to happen? Are they going to make a DAW? Let's see. I don't know if I want to call it vaporware, because I don't know if they really said they were going to do much. But speaking of vaporware, and speaking of Neural DSP again, did the Neural Cortex ever ship? I'm looking at Sweetwater right now, and it's $1,600. And looking at it, it's just a little box. It looks very familiar, like a different piece of gear that recently came out, kind of exactly the same user interface and stuff on the screen as something I think it was the Moore, was just like this. And man, I don't know, $1,600. You guys, I know a lot of you guys just love their amp sim so much more than any others. I'd recommend watching that Vadim Taranov video. For this kind of money, I would get a Helix, man. I mean, it's so much more comprehensive. It has it seems like to me, it has the real-time expression pedals, and it just seems like a much cooler unit. I don't know what all DSP is in these things. A lot of times my thing is to see, does it have auto engage for the wah? Well, it kind of doesn't matter on this, because you'd have to plug in your own pedal. So I guess maybe if it does, who knows. Can you do the two output path that you need for plugging into both the guitar amp and a PA system at the same time? That's really important. I think you probably can. These guys look like they have a pretty comprehensive set of inputs and outputs, but man, for $1,600, I'll go buy the Helix. And I know that one's got its harmonizer. I know that one's got the DSP I want. This is, I don't know. It could be cool, but, is it really actually shipping? I think I'd probably rather just have a Pod Go. I mean, I think that comes with everything I'd need as well. I know Neural is the cool kid flavor of the week for amp sims, but I never really heard anything from them I liked more than Bias or Audio Assault or whatever. Ouch, $1,600. I mean, it was a big talk at NAMM, right? 2 years ago, was it? Yeah, this thing's been on Vaporware Watch for more than a year, right? Eugh. All right. Okay, so there's a Ron Fair video on YouTube allegedly making some hit UK country album. Okay, so I guess that's the big news, that there's something called UK country, so English country. All right. And supposedly he did it on a PreSonus Quantum instead of a console. And if you're watching these videos, I think it's Essex County, The Making of So Good with Ron Fair. There's nothing about, here's my big console I'm standing in front of or whatever. It's just they're talking about how to make a record. Here, you got to sing this part and let's make everybody comfortable and stuff. That's just pretty cool. So, it's all that, always the in the Vox versus whatever battle that we're constantly seeing. Because somebody on the Reaper forum said, it isn't true you can be a beast with just plugins. It just isn't. And then, of course, somebody had to post back, here's Andrew Sheps on mixing entirely in the box. And so they put up a YouTube video, Andrew Sheps on analog versus digital, how to hear when mixing. And, 5 minutes in, he starts talking about he wants to be in the box. He defends mixing however the hell he wants, which right now happens to be with the DAW and a pair of speakers. And so what? If honestly, if you can't get the sound you want out of a DAW, technically, you wouldn't be able to get it out of a console either. I mean, unless you just don't know how to use the DAW, but that's a whole different thing. It's got nothing to do with sound quality or any of that stuff. Just get out of here with that. Write me a hit song. Let's worry about that first. And then, of course, somebody's asking, and this is at GS, and of course this is how it goes. Somebody's asking about how to get the AC/DC back in black snare. And you watch the turkeys immediately start parroting the standard religious dogma about Magic Room this and Magic Mic that and Magic Drummer what's it. It took a bit before reality sets in, and some of Mutt Lange's otherwise well-documented serious processing was spoken about in the thread. Like, this is stuff we kind of know about, but the true believers, they just have to start spouting this nonsense that they just see parroted all over the place. I'm pretty sure that sound is a single drum sample. And if not, at least there's one sitting in there. I think with like a Wendell or something. Who knows how they did this. But, the majority of it's talked about 1 billion times how they use some eventides and stuff to make a certain sound out of this drum. And these people keep talking about the rooms. And yeah, somebody says, the apologists can never help but double down. One of them says, the player, the room, location of the instruments, and mics in the room are just as important, if not more so, than the post-processing. No, in this case, sorry, but that snare, it's coming from the post-processing. And then some meatball, of course, another apologist, just parrot, just a ventriloquist dummy, says, start at the source. And Reaper OG coaches said, responded with, the Nassau studio was closed in 2010. So, this is seriously, again, another example of he asked a technical question that deserves a technical answer. If you don't know, you don't have to pollute the thread or show off your Dunning-Kruger, And another meatball, it's all in the tuning and miking. Top skin a little loose. Mic under the snare gives a little more control and brings out the top end. No, go listen to that video. It's the same damn snare every time. You gonna tell me? Get out of here. Okay. And then, all these pontificating blowhards, what did they do again? Crickets, man, when you ask. And you even get in trouble for asking that. Remember what happened when somebody asked Fletcher, about an album that he actually did? Yeah. Bunch of nonsense. Speaking of pontificating blowhards, we're making a new channel, and it's going to be called something like Pipeline Audio, Real World Audio Education, or Real World Audio Information, or something. I'm not sure which one of you. I don't know if it should be education or not, but I know I want it to be pretentious in asking for it, because I'm so sick. Okay, you know how sick I am of all these hype channels. The guys just show a surprise face and holding a piece of gear and just all this dumb clickbait crap. This is going to be the anti of that. But unlike these live videos and stuff, these are going to be edited, so they're going to be a little bit easier to follow and not so rambly. But yeah, I would like, let me know what you guys think for names. I think real world audio education is fine, but I don't want it to be the idea that, oh, if you're coming here, you must be a noob. No, that's not what it's about. It's just, I'm testing things, and I'm actually getting real world results. Like when we did the mic preamp tests and stuff like that. That's what it's going to be about. So it's really going to take on a lot of these myths. I'm going to be doing a lot of myth busting still, because that's the main one that seems to separate people from their wallets. And that's the one that really upsets me. Aside from these clickbait hype guys that just keep upselling you on multi-level marketing, mega church garbage disguised as an audio recording education. That's the man. You know who I'm talking about. And this channel is going to be anti that. So next thing, Ticketmaster again. Okay. Ticketmaster was ordered to pay $10 million after admitting to illegally accessing competitors' computers. The thing that kills me about this is we know how bad Ticketmaster is. They've been bad for a very, very, very long time. And, this is a great pain. I think this was originally an Arizona company, so this is our great shame. But you guys, how many times you got to be bit by Ticketmaster to stop paying them? Just say no. If your act wants to come in, they're selling through Ticketmaster, just say no. Stop buying from them. Stop it. Ticketmaster will go away tomorrow if you guys stop paying them. If you're paying them, you're part of the problem, and I don't want to hear the whining about it. The hell with these guys. Okay. Next thing. Well, do we have a with this coronavirus relief? Oh my God, I just said the word. So goodbye video. I guess YouTube will be striking this. This latest relief bill had the Felony Streaming Act stuck in it. It has nothing to do with relief for anybody except for big business. And if you remember last year when I was targeted for using my own speaking voice, for standing in my own studio, hitting my own snare drum, and I'd been taken to task over and over by Warner Music Group, Universal Music Group, AdRev, Audio Micro, several different IP trolls and patent campers tried to lay claim to my voice, my snare sounds, everything else, and I had to put up a big fight. And thank you to everybody and all you big channels that seriously had no need to come help somebody as small as me. Thank you so much for helping me fight that fight. These are the same guys who are now going to be profiting from this new bill, where now I can go to jail for the exact same thing, for somebody laying an illegal claim on my work while I'm streaming. It's a felony now. So what the hell are we going to do about that? So this is, we don't talk that kind of politics in here, but every single person who voted for that damn bill should be voted out of office. I mean, vote out every single one of these pieces of crap. This is so upsetting, man. This is amazingly bad. And in the guise of helping struggling people who are about to be kicked out of their houses, people who don't have food to eat, you're going to criminalize all sorts of people for doing nothing wrong so that a bunch of billionaires can make even more money. You suck. And I hope you get voted out. And I hope you guys remember this. I can't say any names. I can't tell you anything like that because we're already on thin ice, but get rid of them. These guys suck. And if you guys think these guys have any, I saw one of them push really hard for like millions of dollars for some ballet thing or some music orchestra thing or whatever. That's not for you. That's not you musician on the street. That's not you band that's going to be hopefully playing bars again soon. That's a bunch of billionaires who profited off of all this. And so, you know what? can all suck it. So sorry about that rant, but sending me to jail for doing what I'm doing right now is ridiculous. So you guys can really, really suck it. Okay, next. Beatport. So I didn't even know this. Okay, Beatport bought Loopmasters. Now, I didn't know that Loopmasters owns Plugin Boutique and LoopCloud. Kenny Gioia the other day was talking about, how things are getting to the point where you can't even download a plugin unless you, I think he called it an ecosystem. Unless you join their ecosystem, you download the whole entire download manager, and then it installs all their plugins, and it constantly nags you and pop-ups and tries to upsell you on plugins you don't need, and just constant nonsense. These aren't video games. These are audio plugins. So we don't need you to Fortnite loot crate every time I open up a mix, This is hard for us because we're probably going to be making a plugin that has some expansion capabilities, and I never want to get to this point. Like right now, like we talked about last week, I couldn't even demo AutoTune without not only downloading their entire ecosystem, but putting a credit card in. No thanks, This is getting sucky. How big was that Amplitude 5? It was like 2.6 gigs or something. It was humongous for an amp sim. How big is Audio Assault's what's the new one, the Reamp? It's like a couple megs, Get out of here. So I've been trying Revoice Pro 4, and I'm really considering buying it. It is clunky, like people are saying, but it doesn't feel buggy like Melodyne. It does have ARA, and it does have the multi-track capability. I'm liking it, so I think I got a couple days left on the demo, and I don't know if there's a sale on or what. I should probably just buy that thing before bad things happen. And so here's the last one. This one kind of cracks me up. So from BBC News, right now, hit songwriters are driving Ubers. So the smaller headlines say, the songwriters behind some of the UK's biggest hit singles are driving Ubers to make ends meet, MPs have been told. Was it really any different? Okay, so the big one that's going on here, and I think a lot of you don't know. So you might remember 2000, I think it was 2000 or 2001. That was the biggest year ever in the music industry, and it was the last big year. After that, everything had fallen apart. So many people had bailed out of the music business before then, especially the DSP guys. Remember, towards the late 90s, people were bailing out of digital signal processing. And, it's, again, like we were talking about, how long has it been since we've been waiting, 22 years for a reverb to sound even like our crappy ones from the 80s and 90s? Because the DSP isn't necessarily there. There's different ones now, so it's not that there's a better or worse, but at least getting back that DSP, it's been hard. And music business has been going downhill ever since then. And then Spotify happened. And Spotify made more all by themselves than the entire music business did in 2000 or 2001 or whatever. One of the years they were starting, which was crazy. And as far as I know, Spotify treats a spin not as a spin or a stream, but as a sale. So the label gets that money, and the artist doesn't. I don't know how that worked out. I bet you that's got something to do with the same idiots that voted in this felony streaming act. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're on the same payroll. But man, the craziest thing is around 99, 2000, I was saying, what the hell is a label for anybody? Everyone wants to get signed. What is a label going to do for you? Anybody selling records out there? No. What do you need a label for? And I'm still going to say it. What do you need a label for? What in the world is Spotify paying labels for? Why? Yeah, this is just weird. But the thing about these songwriters, I don't know. Are you guys writing bad deals? I know back in the day they used to, are you talking about your cut of the streaming money? Because, if so, that makes sense. But man, if you guys all stood together and said something, I think you could get something going in Spotify. But it just seems like this is just another one of those things where, like Ticketmaster, you're just going to keep taking it. And a couple of you are going to complain about it once in a while. Here's my promise. I'm not going to anything that Ticketmaster does. I never did. I never will. And I'll put my money where my mouth is, and my money is not going to Ticketmaster. My money is also not going to Spotify. How about that? You guys want to complain? Get off this crap. Really. This never before have the people had so much power. In a time this year, it's probably going to be the largest upward transfer of wealth and land in history. And that's a horrible, horrible thing. But at the same time, people have been out in the streets, some good, some bad, some really horrible stuff. But at the same time, they have been unstoppable. When the will of the people is out there, it seems like stuff can get done. I think we could end Ticketmaster. That's for damn sure. I think something besides Spotify could come up. It's important to think about this thing, that when you can complain about it and then you go right back to it. You're part of the problem. I'm not on a label. Anything I put on Spotify or whatever it is, it's going through DistroKid, who, again, I have some problems with, but no labels taking it out of me. Good luck with that. So you're free to do that. If you don't think that you can do that on your own, then, don't complain when the label takes all your money. Or find a different label. Make the labels compete. But I'm sorry, I don't really see what use you have for like a gigantic label anymore. I mean, I guess we kind of are like a little label, but we just, we don't take much, and you don't need us for much. We just help you get your stuff on the services. It's not that big. I don't know if you want to. I don't know. This is just payola at this point. Like, is that what you need the label for? Is to pay off radio stations? If so, write better songs you don't have to pay for. If somebody wants to, if you're making songs people want to listen to, you don't have to pay them to listen to it. You only got to pay them to listen to it when your stuff sucks. It's like they always say about marketing. For the most part, marketing is for products that aren't good enough to sell themselves. It's not quite true in this day it's very hard to separate the wheat from the chaff because of all the spam out there. But come on. Anyway, been rambling and babbling all this time. So let me know what you guys think. That new channel, Pipeline Audio, Real World Audio Education. I kind of like it because it's kind of like the name that we gave to our program here at the school, where our kids actually go out and play, fight with bar owners, fight with other bands, do real world stuff, learn how to set up their own junk. It was a pretentious thing to say, but it's done very well here. And I really think that, I'm up against all these hype, clickbait, spam, self-helpless, wannabe guru, clickbait people. So, that's my target right now. So let me know what you think about that. And it looks like it's not raining, so I'm going to the skate park. I'll see you guys next